Mr. Bill O'Reilly, the biggest story of the week, sir.
I think Biden saying that Armageddon maybe...
Yeah.
That's kind of big, right?
Yeah, I think that's kind of big.
That would be big if Armageddon.
Yeah, I mean, kind of huge.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to buy that Ferrari over the weekend.
Don't have to worry about paying for it for long.
60 years ago, Beck, I know you're a student of history, John F. Kennedy was telling the nation to build fallout shelters.
Yeah, this month.
You might want to dig a little hole in the backyard so you and the fam can get in there after the big one hits. And Kennedy was dead serious because that thing was hurtling out of control as the Soviet Union, Nikita Khrushchev, wanted to move intercontinental missiles to Havana, and then, we said, nah, it's not going to happen. And so the confrontation on the high seas was in motion, and the Soviet Union pulled back.
Okay, so wait. Let me compare that and ask you a specific comparison question. I believe Khrushchev was bluffing. He wouldn't have pushed the button, and Kennedy didn't want him to push the button. But if there was a war, each of them would have fought it. But they didn't want to fight that war, so it was just right up to the brink, which one's going to blink.
Yeah, and that's what Khrushchev did.
Right. Do you believe that the same can be said about Biden and Putin?
No, because I think Putin is mentally ill. So Khrushchev, I was a ruthless dictator, but there is no evidence he was mentally ill. I think Putin is mentally ill, and that's the wild card here. But it does no good for anyone to have the President of the United States going, well, on Thursday it might be Armageddon. That doesn't do anyone any good, right? It creates panic, unhappiness, angst, whatever word you want to use, and it empowers Putin.
So,
look at this. I got them all scared over there. That's, what goes through that little jerk's mind.
So, Kennedy, you just said, Kennedy said you might want to start building some fallout shelters. And everyone was aware of how high the stakes were. I don't think that people believe that the stakes are this high, that we are in that position, even though the government, and I don't know if you saw this, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services did a press release. They purchased $300 million of a acute radiation sickness medication. This is not iodine pills. These are bags of medicine for IV that have to be kept in refrigeration, and they expire in 18 months. We just bought for the very first time $300 million worth of these IV bags. They expire in 18 months. What do you think that is?
I saw that. I don't, look, okay, it's a little preventive medicine there. We're not going to get it, by the way, Beck, you and me. We're not getting it. I mean, those would be for the favored few. But you have to look at this as a geopolitical chess game. And so Biden, by saying Armageddon, empowers Putin. That's not what you want to do. You don't want to do anything here. You want to let Putin go down. He's going down. All right? And you don't want to inject yourself into his demise. Now, is there a chance that Putin would launch a low-level nuke in Ukraine? Yeah, there's a chance. It's not a good chance because I believe that his army would overthrow him.
Yes.
If he tried to do that. And what people don't understand is that U.S. intelligence, we're talking to those Russian generals now. All right? We have good intel out of Russia. And if you read Killing the Killers, my book, I explain how these guys can't do this in secret. So if Vlad gets up one morning and goes, okay, we're going to launch a nuke at Kyiv, he can't just do that. There's a series of steps that have to be taken, and the U.S. would know that almost immediately.
Yeah, and they're if I'm not mistaken, Bill, and you might know this, I don't know, but if I'm not mistaken, their missile launching system is much more complicated than ours. the president and one person, I think, at the White House has to okay, or the head of the Defense Department or something has to okay it, and then they could flip it. But they, I believe, have to go through generals, do they not?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not an expert at internal Soviet military matters, but I do know through the research for Killing the Killers that in order to do that kind of an offensive gesture, use a nuclear weapon, there are a number of steps that you have to take. I mean, he'd have to consult with the Duma, okay? I mean, he just can't do it. So what Biden, and the mistake that Biden always makes, is he doesn't understand the big picture. He just doesn't. And he blurts stuff out. I can't imagine Klain or Rice telling him, hey, why don't you just spook everybody and say Armageddon might happen? I can't imagine that. All right? I mean, because it doesn't fit into any positive for the Democratic Party to do that. So it's probably he heard something somewhere in a briefing. This is Biden, because he gets an intel briefing every morning. Sometimes he sleeps through it. He doesn't get up in time. But it's scheduled where the intel people come in, and they're telling him what's happening in Russia and what's happening in Ukraine. And he's probably heard something, and then he just blurts it out. This is educated speculation on my part, but I don't think I'm wrong.
So are we headed there?
No, you can't do that. Headed there, you're dealing with an emotionally disturbed individual, Putin, who does have power. Okay, that's true. But Putin is constrained by China. You think China wants a nuke launched? You think China's going to play into that? No.
No, but you could make the case that if Russia and America destroyed themselves, they could be there for the rebuild. And
whatever it is, if there's a nuke launched, the whole world economy crashes.
Yeah, true.
Okay?
True.
Everybody knows that. And, Putin signs his death warrant. If he would ever do that, then, the USA and China could band together and assassinate the man. I mean, that would happen. You just can't, it's not just going to happen. You can't just do that with no blowback. And Putin, as mentally ill as I believe he is, he doesn't want to die. He doesn't have a death wish. All right, he's still got enough toys and stuff that keep him occupied. But the big story, when you ask me, it's the big story of the week, is that the reaction from Biden is not smart. Is anybody surprised?
No. All right, so let me switch subjects, because I agree with you. That's the big story of the week. The second biggest, I think, is the attack of the FBI, where the FBI is going after pro-lifers now. Oh, and also that the HHS has just funneled $750,000 to an abortion activist group. So our tax dollars are now going to support abortion activists, while the government is rounding up, 84-year-old grandmas and threatening them with 11 years in prison.
This story is ill-defined for me. There are federal laws, as you know, that you cannot do certain things in front of abortion clinics. These people clearly broke the law.
No, they had a misdemeanor. It was judged.
All right. Whether it's the misdemeanor or whatever it may be, I'm not there. I don't know. I haven't seen a complaint. Is it an overreaction? Of course it is. And it's an overreaction to put the abortion issue in front of the American people again before the midterm elections. That's why these things happen. That's why the raid at Mar-a-Lago. That's why the abortion thing. It's all about politics. Democrats believe they're going to get waxed, and they will. And so what do we have? We got Trump. We got abortion. We don't have anything else. Here's the best stat of the week I can give you and Stu. Is Stu there, or is he asleep?
I'm both here and asleep, Bill.
Okay, good. There are hundreds of Democrats running for national office this November. Hundreds. Not one has asked Joe Biden to campaign for him or her. Can I use those pronouns? Okay. Not One. That is beyond stunning. You'd think somewhere, Silicon Valley, L.A., the mayor of L.A. running, you think somewhere. Hey, Joe, could you just stop by and say a few kind words about me? No. No one. What does that tell you?
He's not popular. He's not popular.
Radioactive, pardon the pun.
Yeah.
Radioactive. So the Democratic Party knows this. I love Nancy Pelosi going on Colbert. I mean, I think Colbert is her adopted son, by the way. Not many people know that, I think.
Is anybody even watching Colbert anymore?
No, nobody watches. Yeah. But it gets out on the internet. The stuff gets out on the internet. And there's Nancy, we're going to win. We'll hold the House. And then I'll go and get that little Dorothy and Toto. And you're just sitting there going, no, you're not. And that's it for you, Nancy, baby. That's it. You're through. You won't run again. You'll go back to San Francisco and lie in the gutter with all the other people.
Did you see that Biden, again, trying to buy votes, he pardoned everybody in federal prison who, was caught with marijuana. But there's nobody in federal prison for that.
That's right, nobody.
Nobody.
But there are 6,000 people over the past 50 years who were convicted of possession in a federal court. 6,000 over 50 years. Okay. Now, why were those people? Were they just smoking pot behind the shed? No. They pleaded down. They were dealers, and they pleaded down to possession. Okay. People don't know this. So then Biden goes, I'm going to just pardon all of them. Well, I don't care. I mean, fine. Let them pardon them. Doesn't matter to me. Doesn't matter to the country.
There's nobody there to pardon. There's nobody there.
But it doesn't matter. Joe thinks he's doing something noble. And,
I think Joe is trying to buy voters and dupe voters. This is not his idea. Somebody came up and said this to him so he can look like he's actually helping some people in prison when it's not going to affect a soul in prison.
No. I mean, this is a younger voter play. The stoners out there, I'll vote for Biden. He's not going to, he likes pot.